when a man and woman love each other, when two people love each other, they give each other things. I send you notes, I write you a card, send you flowers, bought you candy on Valentine's Day. And a husband and a wife give themselves to each other in the act of marriage, whereby two become one flesh. In the Catholic Church, the mystics and the saints for centuries, almost from the beginning, have seen that that's the best image to help you understand what's going on in the Eucharist. That God loves us so much, He doesn't just tell that to me. He's not content to give me information. He wants to give me Himself tangibly under this sacramental sign. So again, the sacraments are His work, not mine, whereby He
So you're not taking credit for those. There's no credit to be taken for the sacraments.
No, the sacraments,
they're grace.
Sacraments are pure grace. They all flow from the efficacy of the cross. Yeah. We would say they have the power of Christ's death and resurrection in them. Because the question becomes, how do you and I get access to the cross? How does one actually get into contact with Christ's event on the cross? And the Catholic Church would say there's two ways: faith and the sacraments. Is faith a real access to the event of the cross? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So the question then becomes, well, so then why the sacraments? And the Church's answer would be, because somehow it's fitting for how God has made us, meaning you and I aren't angels. We're not pure spirits. Mm-hmm. We're a mix of body and spirit. I know you know Hebrew, so we're nephesh. I mean, we're body, soul, one together. You can't demarcate them. So we're living in this kind of messed up Western world, which tends to look at the human person dualistically. That's why we kill children. That's why we kill the elderly. That's why we kill the handicapped, because we can help you by killing you. I don't know how that happens. It only happens if we have a dualistic view of the human person. But we're not dualists. I mean, you can prove that by slapping me. If you're going to slap me, you're not trespassing against my property. You're trying to hurt me when you do that, huh? So we are one. We're this body-soul mix. And somehow the Church would say it's fitting or appropriate to the nature with which God has made us that He would interact with us precisely through matter. He became flesh, after all, so that's not beneath Him.
Right.
He took His flesh with Him back to heaven, so it's still not beneath Him. He's ascended gloriously with His risen body into heaven. And St. Thomas Aquinas, one of the great teachers in the Catholic Church, said once that man's estate is somehow to be enslaved to material things. That's how we are now by the fall. We tend to try to find happiness in things.
Yes.
Huh? Mm-hmm. As opposed to in Him, who is the giver of all things. So St. Augustine once said, we're like brides who wake up the day after their wedding, looking at their wedding ring going, wow, that's a great ring. And they forgot the guy who gave the ring.
Yeah.
Well, that's how we are. We're surrounded by God's gifts.
That's a great
But
image.
they eclipse the giver.
Mm-hmm.
So the Church would say, so somehow God sees it fitting to hide Himself in material things, which man is intended or inclined to reach out for, so that man can be healed of his slavery. Which I think is a beautiful image.
That's amazing. So when you think of that in terms of the Eucharist, you reach out for the bread, and you're reaching out for Christ.
Yeah, we would say that it's more that He's offering Himself to us, like a bridegroom, which is one of His favorite